Hi, I'm Anqoinette Crosby, and welcome to County Report this week. Coming up in the next half hour, big changes are coming to a center that treats county residents dealing with substance abuse. Plus, honoring the arts and humanities in the county during an evening of excellence. And later, it's a huge county tradition. The Thanksgiving parade is almost here, and we'll tell you where to see it. But first, it won't be long before county residents will have a new option to get around. As Susan Kennedy tells us, after years in the making, ground has finally been broken for the county's first BRT station.
All aboard. Flash BRT is officially under construction in the east portion of Montgomery County. The rapid bus system is expected to improve access to high-quality transportation for those residents. Federal, state, and local officials all grabbed a shovel and dug in for the kickoff of this latest transportation project.
This is home for me. This is important. Whenever I go to the grocery store or move around in this area, people ask me about transportation, about transit. We have a vision and a plan now that I know will improve transportation options for the people along this route.
I laid out a 110-mile bus rapid transit map about 10 years ago. When I put it out the first time and I had Route 29 on the map, people said, "Why? There are no jobs here." And I said, there are no jobs here because there's no infrastructure here. And the purpose of the BRT was not to solve the problems of just the present, but was to open up the doors to the future.
The first Flash Bus Rapid route is expected to be up and running in 2020. It will run along US 29 from Burtonsville to downtown Silver Spring, and it's expected to carry 20,000 riders per day.
Today is the beginning of the county government building what you've been asking for a very, very long time. And you could fill a bus with the people who have participated and invested their time and their energy over the years. And that's what it takes to get the job done.
Officials say the future economic vitality of the county hinges on its ability to provide new transportation options to accommodate residents and job growth. The project is estimated to cost $31.5 million. A federal grant will cover $10 million of those expenditures.
It's obviously good whenever you can get more cars off the road. It helps clean our air. So this is an example of an important success story.
Mark Elrich says today's groundbreaking is just the beginning.
So I think this is going to be resurgent. I think new technology is going to give this even more advantages. So I'm optimistic.
In Silver Spring, I'm Susan Kennedy for County Report This Week.
The commander of the Germantown Police District asked local residents whether they thought crime was increasing in their city. Here's how they responded.
I think one of the goals of the department is not only to deal with crime, but to deal with the fear of crime. That's something we're always trying to do, and you know that presents itself in a variety of ways. If somebody reads about a crime in occurring in the 5th District, and they know they live here, well, that concerns them, and you know, hopefully by showing them the raw data and then putting some information behind it. My goal was to put them at ease and to show that Germantown is a relatively safe community. We have our challenges, but their police officers are working hard to resolve those issues. We have gangs all over. We have gangs of kids that play football. We have gangs of kids that commit crime. For us as the police department, the ones that are engaged in criminal activity are the ones that we do. So when you have a gang that's engaged in criminal activity, that's part of that triangle that I mentioned in talking about. The triangle, or the most effective way to attack that triangle, is to go at the gangs. And the gang issues, again, it's bigger than just the police. We've got to do stuff about people who, education and interdiction to prevent people from joining gangs. Once people are in gangs, we have to do strategies to pull them out of the gangs and remove them from that group and show them that there's a better way. And if they're so embedded in the gang that they're just not going to leave, that's when enforcement is the answer, that we should be finding those people who are engaged in criminal activity, members of that gang, charging them, and working in partnership with the state's attorney's office to make sure that they're not continuing to come out on the street and causing harm and distress to our community.
Some much-needed upgrades are coming to the Avery Road Treatment Center. The cost, about $150 million. Lorna Virgili was there, along with other dignitaries, for the construction groundbreaking ceremony. Lorna?
Anqoinette, it will take 18 months to replace this 1991 building by a brand new state-of-the-art facility with 64 beds, so clients can start their journey to recovery.
Behind me, you see a worn-out building that needs to be replaced. This site will look very different once it is completed. The new 3-story state-of-the-art facility will provide non-hospital detoxification, intermediary care facility for a number of people who need services.
Montgomery County is not immune to the nationwide opioid epidemic, and the services offered at Avery Road Treatment Center are a key component in making treatment available. Maryland Governor Larry Hogan announced that the state is pitching $4 million for the new construction.
And I became the first governor in America to declare a state of emergency on this crisis. We decided to treat it just as we would treat any other crisis, a natural disaster or a man-made disaster. We've now committed more than $600 million to fighting the heroin, opioid, and substance abuse epidemic from all directions. Fortunately, prescription opioid-related deaths are now down in our state by 7%, and heroin-related deaths are now down 20%.
The facility serves adults with substance use disorders, including those who are homeless, HIV positive, intravenous drug users, and patients with mental health disorders. Patients can self-refer or be referred by a family member, jail or law enforcement, hospitals, and other treatment providers.
While heroin and fentanyl are the focus of much of our attention, we should not forget that that addiction is the true epidemic. And it's not just addiction to heroin, it's also cocaine, it's amphetamines, it's meth, and alcohol. Alcohol is still very, very prevalent with us. Addiction causes pain, suffering, and death for both the addicted and their loved ones. And as long as that is the case, we will continue to need Avery Road Treatment Center.
The project is expected to be completed in early 2020. In Rockville, for County Report This Week, I'm Lorna Virgili.
Take note, it's almost time to vote. The gubernatorial general election takes place on November 6th. The county's polling places will be open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. You must vote in your home precinct. For more info about Election Day, go to 777vote.org or call 240-777-VOTE. Coming up on County Report This Week, the county executive hosts an artful event to honor those who make a difference. And the county is getting ready for winter storms. We have an update on snow removal. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Did you know there are more than 10,000 county government phone numbers? But there's only one number you need to remember for non-emergency calls, 311. MC311 is Montgomery County government's online telephone information system. Need information? Have a problem or complaint? Trying to locate a county government facility? Call 311. The call center is open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The website is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
In Montgomery County, we have a goal to reduce waste and recycle 70% of all waste by 2020. By recycling and reducing waste, we save natural resources and make our community even better. So recycle at home, work, school, everywhere, and keep recycling going. For more information, call the Montgomery County, Maryland Division of Solid Waste Services at 311 or visit montgomerycountymd.gov/recycling.
Keep it going. Recycle more now.
Welcome back to County Report This Week. I'm Anqoinette Crosby. It was a night to celebrate the residents and organizations that dedicate their time to the arts. Let's take a look at the County Executives Awards in Excellence in the Arts and Humanities.
The people that we honor tonight and the people that we continue to see on stage and the artwork that they perform throughout the county is just extraordinary. This was a great program, I think, and we honored some very outstanding people. I'm hopeful that this will continue to be a main focus for Montgomery County in years to come. We provided some awards, including one to my wife, Catherine, for all of her great work historically. So I'm very proud of what we've accomplished. We provided a great deal of resources over the years, but Arts and Humanities not only livens the soul and inspires us, but it also is a great economic boost for the county.
It feels incredible, a little overwhelming and overcome with just the excitement of being honored for especially my educational work with veterans. I really am passionate about sharing veterans' messages through art and through music and getting their messages out there, and so I received this award on their behalf.
Well, tonight is the last executive awards for me and for our county executive, and we are actually quite proud to have done this for 12 years and to be able to identify the people in our community, recognize them for the impact that they have had on so many, for doing so much, for lifting the arts and the humanities up in Montgomery County and making it so very special.
Think of the people who achieved all odds, against all odds, successes in science, in literature and culture and so forth, as they helped to build America. Think of the struggles, the civil rights struggles that they had, the barriers to civil rights, and again, success at the end. That's what the museum does. It's not just a building. And so you take a tour, you take a passage through the history of 400 years.
Fall has definitely arrived, and that means it's time to rake your leaves. It also means it's time for the annual leaf collection. It starts on November 12th. The Department of Transportation will schedule 2 pickups in neighborhoods within the collection district. Posted signs will indicate pickup dates to give you ample time to rake your leaves to the edge of the road. Now here's a tip. Do not rake your leaves into the street. For more info, go to the county's website or call 311. Every inch of snow we get means it will cost about $1 million to get rid of it. In preparation for the winter storm season, Executive Leggett has once again hosted a snow summit. The Department of Transportation is ready with hundreds of staff on hand and equipment to get the job done, clearing the snow that piles up in the county.
This department has served us well. Look behind me and you see the men and women who are here. But think about the hundreds of others who work 24-hour shifts, who go out in some of the most difficult weather that you can imagine. When there's snow, there's ice, it is cold, and they deliver.
This year, DOT will make 2 changes to its operations to make it more eco-friendly. They'll double the amount of salt brine to expand treatment to primary neighborhood streets, and they'll experiment using rubber-tipped blades on snowplows. More than 1,000 consumer complaints are handled by the county's Office of Consumer Protection each year. Here are investigators Joy Matthews and Lee Glass to talk about a recent case involving an unlicensed contractor.
The Montgomery County Office of Consumer Protection helps residents solve consumer complaints. We have 9 experienced investigators with expertise in home improvement, auto repair, housing, and retail transactions, among other topics. Let's meet one of our investigators and find out how a typical case is handled. I'm here with investigator Lee Glass, who recently handled a home improvement complaint that involved an unlicensed contractor. Lee, tell us about the complaint.
The complaint involved a person of a bit older age, and I spoke to her soon after the complaint was assigned to me and scheduled to make a site visit the next day. I viewed the property and noticed that things weren't right. I had known that the contract was signed early February, and on the contract, which involved an unlicensed contractor, it stated the work was going to be completed in 5 days, and here we were 6 months later, and the work was not done correctly and not finished.
So Lee, how were you able to resolve the complaint?
After speaking with the merchant, we were able to come to a settlement to have the money returned to the consumer. And the money which was given to the merchant at the time of the signing of the contract was half of the cost of the project, which is disallowed under Maryland code. You could only have a receipt of 1/3 of payment at the time of the signing of the contract. And the contract itself was invalid because the merchant was not licensed.
When a merchant is unlicensed, our office creates a notice of violation document, which informs the merchant to not perform work in the county until being licensed by the Maryland Home Improvement Commission.
The case took about a month to resolve. During that time, there was a lot of communication and phone calls, and research. I did have to figure out what parts of the code were in violation. The contractor was acting without a license, and then also too large of a deposit was taken. But another thing that held up the case was that the consumer wanted a money order or a certified check. So then the merchant needed to actually have that cash to pay back. Even though he was willing to do so, it just took a while. But then the money was returned to the consumer, and the case was closed. And hopefully that money will be used to rebuild the front porch and the sidewalk and side entrance.
Great work, Lee. Thanks. Remember, prior to deciding to have home improvement work done at your home, please contact our office for information and contact the Maryland Home Improvement Commission to find out if the contractor is licensed. And remember, the services of the Office of Consumer Protection are free.
Coming up on County Report this week, we show you how MCPS supports students by combining mental health and wellness. And the county holds a bike donation to give those in need another way to get around town. Stay with us. County Report this week. We'll be right back.
Hey, mister, down here. You illegally passed the stop school bus. I'm placing you in timeout, and this timeout means big fines, plus you really could have hurt somebody. That's why school buses are being equipped with video cameras to help kids like me stay safe, so respect the bus.
Career success starts at Montgomery College. Get the hands-on education you need for the job you want, and save up to half the cost of attending other colleges. Start your future now at Montgomery College.
Welcome back to County Report this week. I'm Anqoinette Crosby. He is the co-author of the book Things That Make White People Uncomfortable. Recently, Dave Zirin was invited to Montgomery College to speak to students and the community.
Montgomery College President Dr. Darian Pollard welcomed sports editor and radio talent Dave Zirin to be her special guest for her Presidential Dialogue series. Zirin, co-author of Michael Bennett's book, Things That Make White People Uncomfortable, became an activist by researching sports history.
But what I couldn't find was a comprehensive book that detailed what this history was all about. That was written for a young person like myself who was not an academic, who was just coming to these ideas for the first time. And that's really when I said to myself, I want to write about this history. And then it got me to thinking also, if this speaks to history, then it must also, by definition, speak to the present as well. Chapters of this must be written in the present tense as we speak. And so that's what really got me involved in this kind of work, and it's been a passion ever since.
With the national climate and the growing tension in our environment, Dr. Pollard has chosen the politics of radical inclusion as the topic of her continuing dialogue series.
So I think this series is a continuation of conversations we've started already when we started talking first about what is radical inclusion and what does it look like in a community. The politics of it, I think, deepens that conversation and takes it to a different level. Given the environment that we're in right now, how to create spaces and places for civil dialogue is what we're trying to do with this series.
Selecting Zirin as the first guest was key to the success of the next series of discussions.
I really do believe that the book is going to get people thinking about these issues. Michael is a very interesting and eclectic thinker, and he hits you from 5 different angles with each page. So if people give the book a chance, they're going to laugh, they're going to get a little weepy, and they're not just going to be uncomfortable, they're going to get comfortable by the end of it because they're going to feel like they really learned something.
In Tacoma Park. For County Report this week, I'm Stan Jones.
Mental health and wellness awareness is one of the priorities of MCPS. The school system has made sure to have supports in place. MCPS TV visited a few schools to give us a glimpse of what's available.
MCPS is committed to the mental health and wellness of all students and staff, and many schools have programs in place to support their needs. There are initiatives in place countywide at all levels. Tacoma Park Middle School is one example in which students begin each day with a mindful minute. It gives them an opportunity to unwind and take a deep breath before classes begin.
Mindfulness Minute grounds us, and it helps us be more relaxed about the day to come and any assignments that we're stressed about in the future, and it's just good for just starting off the day.
Students take additional mindful moments throughout the day, both in and out of school.
We're trying to make it part of the culture of the school that students start to do it on their own and not just when it's teacher-led at the beginning of class.
Just use a mindfulness minute whenever you're by yourself, anywhere. Just take a minute and just relax, and it'll help you a lot.
Elementary school students have learned the benefits of mindfulness as well.
They actually initiate their own mindful moments, and they will tell others about it. You know, they have become little ambassadors for mindfulness.
Gaithersburg Elementary has created spaces to promote mental health. Each classroom has a mindfulness corner, and there are separate mindfulness rooms for students and staff.
Take deep breaths.
There's also a greater emphasis on mental health and wellness beyond the classroom at James Hubert Blake High School. Extracurricular activities such as Best Buddies, Forward Club, and Sources of Strength encourage students to help one another. And the Fame Club created their own version of the Me Too movement.
Blake Too is about Blake as a community. It's not just women and it's not just girls. It's about the staff, the students, and anyone that comes in that's been sexually assaulted. We want them to know we support you.
You can't have mental health without togetherness. You can't have mental health without enough people who love you and care about you and are there for you at your darkest times. That's the very definition of mental health.
Last month, MCPS named October Mental Health and Awareness Month. However, these supports will remain in place all school year. Bikes help give our residents in need the freedom of riding for fun, fitness, and getting where they need to go. That's why the county's Department of Transportation recently held its annual bicycle donation event. Generous residents dropped off used bikes, parts, and helmets at the council office building in Rockville. The items collected are now in the hands of the nonprofit Rockville Bike Hub, where the bikes will be refurbished to look brand new.
I understood that they were going to be reused in this community and give an opportunity for somebody who didn't have a bike of their own to be able to ride.
Today, some of the bikes that we're collecting are going to be going to not only our terrific program and to adult donations, but we're also giving a batch of bikes to Bikes for the World, a group that we've worked with in the past, and they send bikes overseas to developing nations to give people transportation.
The bikes will be donated to low-income residents in the county through programs like Rockville's Terrific Kids and the county's linkages to learning. Coming up on County Report this week, it's a long-time tradition in the county, the Thanksgiving Parade. More on how you can see the festivities. And Rockville teaches residents how clean water helps make great beer. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
If you think someone might be considering suicide or drugs, be the one to help them by taking these 5 steps. Ask, keep them safe, be there, help them connect, follow up. If you're struggling, call Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK or the 24-hour crisis center at 240-777-4000. Be the one to help. Learn more at betheone.org.
The gubernatorial general election is almost here. Election day is November 6th. Follow these practical tips. Familiarize yourself with the voting system. Review your sample ballot and bring it with you to use as a guide. You must be registered to vote on Election Day, and you must vote in your home precinct. Your sample ballot shows you where your polling place is. Visit our website, 777vote.org, for more information. Remember, your time, your voice, your vote.
Welcome back to County Report this week. I'm Anqoinette Crosby. Strike up the bands. It's almost time for the Montgomery County Thanksgiving Parade. We want to see everyone there on Saturday, November 17th from 10 a.m. until noon. As usual, the parade will take place in downtown Silver Spring. It starts on Ellsworth Drive and ends at Silver Spring Avenue. Enjoy marching bands, Latin dancing, floats, inflatables, and balloons. This is the only Thanksgiving parade in the DMV. Now this year on Veterans Plaza, the parade offers a place to take your family holiday photos. All parade selfies marked with the hashtag MocoThanksParade will be broadcast on the Jumbotron. For more info, visit mocorec.com. The science behind brewing beer begins with clean water. In Rockville, there's an event to educate residents about the process. Rock 11's Craig Buchanan has more.
Great beer begins with clean water. So the Rockville Environment Commission and the Croydon Creek Nature Center are bringing you Rockville Brewshed. It's a chance to learn the science behind brewing beer while you taste it on Wednesday, November 7th at 7 p.m. at True Respite Brewing Company.
The event is a great way to learn more about what the city is doing to protect water quality and educate the public on different conservation issues.
It's an evening of beer tasting and watershed education.
So you're definitely going to learn about watersheds, the importance of water quality, how you can reduce pollution.
Water makes up 90% of beer, so if you're an adult who drinks beer and wants to protect the environment, then the Rockville Brewshed is for you.
You can come out, learn all about watersheds and how you can help them, but you'll also get to sample some great beer, learn about what True Respite Brewing Company is doing to be more sustainable, and then support a local business.
The event is free, but you must register before the event. Just go to rockvillemd.gov/registration and search for 6071 to sign up. For County Report This Week, I'm Craig Buchanan.
Now it's time to meet our pet of the week. This is Elsa. She's a 2-year-old spayed female brown tabby. Elsa is nicknamed the life of the party. She's a social butterfly. Elsa is young, playful, and loves your attention. Oh, and she loves treats. Elsa would be a good playmate for a cat-friendly dog if given the perfect opportunity. Please call the Montgomery County Animal Services and Adoption Center at 240-773-5900 or visit Elsa on the web at montgomerycountymd.gov/ASD. With that, we close this edition of County Report This Week. Remember to like us on Facebook and to join us again at this time every week for a look at what's going on inside Montgomery County. I'm Anqoinette Crosby. Thank you for watching.